The anime starts with the hero, Misumi Makoto, introducing himself. He says he is bad at isekai and that his life is a joke. He tells how he was sent to another world one day. He spends the whole day in his normal routine. But when he sleeps, he sees a god named Tsukuyomi, who informs him that he's going to enter another world and that his parents are also from another world. His parents made an agreement at the time of their arrival in this world that they would give their most important thing to them someday. Makoto realizes that if he does not go, one of his siblings will have to go to fulfill the agreement. Tsukuyomi tells him that he will grant him powers, and the goddess he's going to meet has a lot of problems. Makoto encounters the goddess after being transported to another world. The goddess makes fun of him and calls him ugly. She says she hates to give him any, she has to grant him the power to understand, read, and write. She throws him into a world where he will be a powerful person, unlike in the previous world. After wandering in the lonely mountains, Makoto encounters an orc girl who is attacked by two headed dogs resembling pigs. He saves the girl and kills the dogs. Makoto then asks the girl about that place, and she tells him that this place is barren and is located at the edge of the world. The girl's name is Emma, and she has come there to offer herself as a sacrifice to Shin because her village has been covered in fog for many years, and she has come to sacrifice herself. Emma also tells him that there is a place nearby where he can purify himself and wash away the exhaustion from his travels. She then takes him with her, and they eat a meal. Makoto learns that Emma can request that she teach him magic. Makoto learns the magic easily, and Emma tells him that he is at level 1. The next day, Makoto runs from there and leaves a letter for Emma, thanking her and telling her that he is going to defeat Shin. He practices his spells, and suddenly the dragon Shin attacks him, but he defeats it. After looking into Makoto's memories, Shin makes a contract with him, becomes his companion, and turns himself into his real form, which is a girl. Shin transports Makoto to a beautiful demi-plane through a mist gate. Makoto sees a lot of plants and fruits that exist in his world. He asks Shin to return to the orcs village to clear up the misunderstanding. When they reach there, Emma asks Makoto not to fight Shin, but she then introduces herself, which shocks Emma. There is a celebration at Orc Village, and Emma thanks Makoto for saving her village, and all the villagers are also thankful to him. Shin offers all the villagers to go to her demi-plane, but Makoto says there will be some demons there. A little girl who resembles Shin says she will destroy all the demons, and Shin tells Makoto that the girl is her fragment. Shin then transports all the villagers to her demi-plane, where they build a city, and Makoto becomes the master of the land. Makoto bans historical dramas and gets furious when Shin again watches his memories. Shin then goes to build the TV and media so she can record Makoto's memories. While seeing his memories recorded by Shin, Makoto decides to follow his parents and go to a human village like them. Makoto is informed by some villagers that the trees in the area are hard and they can't clear them for his resident. He then cuts the tree with his magic and heals the wounds of a villager without using his mana, but he realizes he cannot use his healing power on himself. Shin then brings a dwarf who is injured and informs Makoto that demi-plane is attacked by a strange creature. The same creature then attacks Makoto after smelling his blood, and the injured dwarf tells them that the creature is called the Black Spider of Disaster, who eats everything. Shin reveals that she has fought it before, but its hunger had driven it to madness, and she could not communicate with it. Makoto then attacks the spider with magical fire, but it absorbs all the fire to heal itself. Shin then reveals that she lured the creature there to check on the monster slain in Makoto's memory. The Spider of Disaster then attacks Makoto, but he launches multiple frits and starts firing on the spider, destroying it. Makoto falls when he is out of strength, and the spider regenerates itself and says that it wants to be with Makoto forever. The spider turns into a beautiful girl and becomes Makoto's servant. After waking up, Makoto finds a beautiful girl near him who vows to serve him throughout her life. Makoto is informed that he is healed by Shin and Emma, and the Black Spider introduces herself to him. Then Emma, Shin, and a dwarf named Barin come there, and Barin requests Makoto to allow them to move to his land, and he agrees. Shin tells him some conditions, and Barin takes 2 days to convince his people. Makoto daily searches for a human settlement outside of the demi-plane to know the path of his parents. He finds a village, but before he goes there, Shin comes and asks him to name her and the Black Spider. Makoto gives the names Tomoe to Shin and Mio to the Black Spider, and they accept them happily. All the species that gather there decide to call Makoto the young master, and the elder dwarf asks Makoto if he is sent by the goddess for a special mission, but Makoto denies it. Then Tomoe and Mio introduce their followers and warn them to respect their young master. Tomeo's followers are called mist lizards, and Mio's followers are alks. Makoto allows all the followers to live where they want and warns them to fight one another. Makoto goes to the human village and encounters a beautiful human girl who runs from there, thinking him a monster. When he moves further, he sees that many humans are ready to attack him. He runs from there, thinking that the goddess gave him the ability to understand and speak all languages other than humans. Emma, Mio, and Tamiya tell him that they can communicate with humans and that humans can see his mana, which is why they attack him. Makoto then vows that he will overcome this problem and talk to humans. 1 month later, Eld brings Makoto a ring that can absorb mana, and he also learns to read and write. Makoto, Tomeo, and Mio reach the human village, and Makoto wears a mask to hide his face. They reach an adventurer's guild, where the receptionist tells them about different jobs and ranks. Tomeo and Mio measure their levels and shock everyone. Tomeo is informed that the dragon slayer named Sophia Bolga is the next highest level adventurer. Then they get rooms on rent, and Makoto goes for dinner with Mia, leaving Tomeo to watch the people who are chasing them. Makoto and Maya are stopped by a little human girl. Makoto and Mio take the little girl to an inn, where she tells them that her name is Rainon, and that her only sister went missing when she and her sister stayed in the town for a while. Tome fights some masked men and kills them, and Makoto then scolds her while Rainon comes there. Makoto asks Rainon to go to bed after dinner, and she shows them the sketch of her sister. Makoto realizes that her sister has been taken captive by the thieves whom Tomo fought. He then sends Tomo and Mio to rescue Rainon's sister, and assures Rainon that her sister will be fine. Rainon remembers when she and her sister were in debt, and her sister failed to defeat Rizzo. Rainon's sister asked her to go to Sich because she needed to work to pay her debt. They raped her sister, and Rainon was forced to leave the town. Tomoe and Mio find Rainon's sister, and they rescue her. Meanwhile, they are encountered by the strongest adventurer, Mills Ace. When Makoto and Rainon reach the inn, Rainon runs back, saying that she has forgotten something. Makoto then checks on her and realizes that Rainon has given his information to thieves to set her sister free. Tomo and Mio are informed by Rainon's sister that Mills is the leader of the group that kidnapped her. Mills offers Tomo and Mio to join their group, but they refuse and attack Mills when he says bad things about Makoto. Mills dodges their attack by using his magical barrier. Makoto saves Rainon by saying that she is her friend, and Rainon starts weeping to hear this. Mio and Tomoe fight with Mills and his team and defeat them, causing a lot of destruction. After the fight, they both start arguing about who kills more people than the other, and Rainon's sister stops them. They create a lot of catastrophes to prove their power. Rainon reunites with her sister after a long time, and they cry bitterly to hug each other. They both show their gratitude toward Makoto, Mio, and Tomoe for saving them. Makoto asks Mio if she can produce spider silk, and she says she can. He then punishes both of them for destroying the town and throws them out of the window. Makoto and his team head toward the next village, Sage, and after reaching there, they stay in a base. Tomoe asks Makoto to grant her permission to become a knight errant, and he grants it. They encounter many red bee monsters, but on Makoto's order, Mio kills them in no time. Rainon's sister, To, gathers a lot of material. They again encounter bee monsters, and Makoto decides to kill them, but Tua asks him not to hit the heads of bees because they are valuable. Makoto kills all the bees instantly. They reach the town and register themselves, and To thanks Makoto because they have leveled up after this journey. Makoto asks her to divide the material they gathered during the journey, and she agreed. Makoto announces a meal at the end of the journey, and all of them are happy about it. To says she will choose the restaurant, and they exchange contact numbers. The group visits a restaurant named Butcher Shop and enjoys a delicious meal. One of the group members asks Makoto what he will do with the ruby eyes of bees, and he tells him that he will use them to do a job at the guild. Makoto and another boy play a hand game, and Makoto wins. To tells Makoto that she heard some rumors about the job at Rembrandt Trading Company, and Makoto tells Mio about this. He asks Mio to stay in his room at night for security, and Mio blushes, thinking that she will be alone with Makoto in the room. The next morning, Makoto and Mio go to Demiplane, where Emma welcomes them. Makoto tells Emma that he is going to open a trading company, and Emma gives him a briefing about all the species in the Demiplane. She tells him that the orcs are building a residence for him according to his memories. Hilg gets excited to see Makoto and shows him different kinds of armor made by his craftsmen. Makoto refuses to take any of them and says that he prefers the jacket and coat. Makoto likes protective gear that absorbs a lot of mana and whose color can be changed. Makoto meets some Alkies who are being trained by Mio. Makoto then takes the required things with him and visits the client at Rembrandt Trading Company, but the client says he does not want to discuss anything with him. At the Tsij Guild, a boy is asking the receptionist who got the Rembrandt Trading Company job. Makoto is talking to Patrick, who is a representative of the company. Patrick asks Makoto about him, and he tells him that he wants to establish his own business. Patrick says to Makoto that he should have researched the ruby eyes thoroughly. He tells him that he wants to make a special medicine from the ruby eyes to cure his wife and daughter, who have been suffering from a cursed disease. Makoto says he knows an alchemy master who can make this medicine, and Patrick becomes happy to hear this. At the Merchant Guild, Makoto is informed that he has to pass 2 tests to register himself in the guild. If he passes the written test, he will be able to give a practical test. After buying the manual, Makoto says he wants to give the test right now. He attempts the test before time and obtains full marks. The examiner is shocked to see that Makoto gets all the elements in no time, and he congratulates Makoto on passing both exams with full marks. Tomoe kills a lot of crab monsters, cooks them, and eats them. She is informed that Mio is viewing Makoto's memories, and she gets furious to hear this. Emma then tells Tomoe that Mio is translating Makoto's memories. Mio then tells Tomoe that she and Makoto remained in the same room for the whole night, but she only watched him sleep. Makoto hears about the giant crab in a restaurant and then goes to Demiplane and eats fruits with Fragment. She tells him that the weather has changed there and is affecting the harvest of fruits. Later, Makoto hears Tomoe, who is asking for help regarding Mio, and Makoto runs from there. He finds both of them arguing about Makoto's memories. He interrupts them and asks Mio to give Tomoe all the memories, and Mio reveals that Tomoe ate a crab secretly. Makoto then allows both of them to watch his memories and returns to Tsij. He discusses his job with Mio and Tomoe and then asks them about his bed because they have only 2 beds in the room. They both try to seduce Makoto, but he prefers to sleep on the sofa. He then receives a message from the alchemy master stating that he agrees to make the medicine. In the morning, when Makoto is going to his client, 2 boys talk to each other, and it seems they are plotting against Makoto. Patrick kills a man, most probably the doctor who has cursed his wife and daughter. Makoto reaches Patrick's house with the alchemy master, where Patrick provides them with all the materials to make the medicine. They successfully create 1 dose of medicine, and the alchemy master throws the bottles of medicine in the air, and Makoto hardly saves them from breaking. When Patrick tries to give a dose of medicine to his wife, she fights with him, and he gets injured. The alchemy master tells him that it can be a hindrance to the cure of a cursed disease. Patrick tells him that this cursed disease started with a minor fever, and then his wife started fearing water and light and became weak with the passage of time. Mitoko asks Patrick to take him to her wife so that he can restrain her, and he assures him that he will break the curse. Makoto asks Patrick to stay outside the room, and he lures her in with some blood. Suddenly, Patrick's wife attacks Makoto, but he catches her by using his judo tricks, and Patrick administers the medicine in her mouth. She turns into her real form after some time. Makoto then goes to the room of Patrick's daughters and cures them. Patrick thanks Makoto and the alchemy master for saving his wife and daughters and appreciates their efforts. He then asks Makoto who he is, and he tells him that he is just a merchant in training. Makoto then finds Mio and Tomoe waiting for him, and suddenly someone attacks them, but they dodge it. Then Tomoe informs Makoto that the guys who attacked them have been chasing him for a few days. Their leader, named Lime, then summons many other adventurers and offers Tomoe and Mio to join him, and Mio apparently agrees. Makoto and Tomoe are attacked by them, but they defeat all of them, and Makoto then asks Lime why they cursed Patrick's family and took them near death. Lime reveals that he only made them sleep by cursing, and he tells the whole story of why and how he cursed them. Lime apologizes to Patrick and announces that he is retiring from adventuring, and Patrick forgives him. Tomoe then asks Lime what he will do, and he says he will manage somehow. She then gives him a sword and asks him to gather information for her. Patrick and his assistants say that if Makoto succeeds in establishing his company, they will have to consider their plan of action. Makoto and his team enjoy a meal. Emma says their warriors have lost confidence after training with Makoto, and Tomoe says they are depressed because they are unable to defeat them. Makoto then asks Mio to come with him to the demiplane, and Makoto tells Mio and Emma about the preservation of tomato. They gather all the species to assess the strength that cannot be measured during their regular training sessions. Tomoe asks all of them to fight to demonstrate their strength. They select some representatives from each species and ask them to fight. Agares represents the Highland Orcs, while Liddy is the representative of the Agares, and Liddy fight and Agares wins. Tomoe says that both Liddy and Agares have disappointed her. She then motivates them and announces that everyone will participate in individual matches every week and be ranked according to their performance. Makoto then says that he agrees with what Tomoe said and that they should not conceal their tactics because they have the potential to fight. Makoto is requested by the receptionist of the guild to train Lime to become the successor. Tomoe agrees, and Makoto thanks her. While training, Tomoe and Toa's party are attacked by a troop of Shadow Tails, and Tomoe asks them to defeat the Shadow Tails. She also teaches them how they can easily defeat the enemy, and they have done it in no time. She then assigns them to kill hundreds of monkeys in one night to show others that they are strong enough. The next morning, Toa's party reaches the guild after defeating the target, and everyone is shocked at their achievement. Tomoe appreciates all of them. Makoto asks Mio to bring some ambrosia flowers to make medicines. He tells Mio that he is thinking of setting up a shop. He then requests that Patrick rent him some space in his shop, which he agrees to. He also advises Makoto to open a shop in a neutral city that does not belong to any kingdom, and Makoto thanks him. Makoto then goes to Demiplane, and Toe's group visits Tenorak Forest, where two demons are talking about humans. Aris and Aqua attack Toe's group in the forest and kill them. Tomoe holds a party to celebrate the establishment of Makoto's trading company. Tomoe's Fragment and Mio serve delicious food to Makoto. An alky named Akina introduces herself to Makoto and reports to him the visit of her group to Tenorak Forest. She also tells him about her other group members and says thanks to Makoto for adjusting them in the Demiplane. Then Liddy comes and tells him that he has acquired new tactics through training sessions and defeated Agares. Makoto appreciates Liddy, and then L talks to him and asks about his visit to the human town. He tells Makoto that they are living peacefully in the Demiplane and do not want to leave it. Makoto asks him to run his shop in Sige, and he agrees. Everyone is eager to talk to Makoto, and Mio and Tomoe are also talking about Makoto. Suddenly, they realize Makoto is not nearby, and they run to the forest. Mio clings to Makoto to see him and starts weeping. Tomoe then asks Motoko how he drew his bow, and when he tells her the details, she gets furious. Mio then says to Makoto that he extends his consciousness to his target and then reconstitutes himself, while other people can only diffuse their consciousness when they die. She further says that Makoto was going to die while aiming at his target. Tomoe then tells Makoto that his mana level is equal to that of a goddess, and his demiplane is expanding with the increase in his mana. She then sends Mio along with him. Makoto then thinks he has a lot of work to do to open a shop. He is exhausted from work, and while walking, he encounters a demi-human and a beautiful lady. The lady tries to seduce her, but Tomoe and Mio interrupt them and take him away. They both seduce him, but he manages to flee in the nick of time. Mio thinks Makoto has fled because they are wearing clothes he dislikes, and they should wear dresses of Makoto's choice. Emma finds Makoto clinging to a tree and covered with spider silk. The next morning, Mio apologizes to Makoto for last night's incident, and they both discuss the ambrosia flower. They go to Tenorak Forest, and Makoto holds Mio's hand to protect her from slipping. They are interrupted by Aris and Aqua, who are protectors of the forest. When they attack, Makoto runs. Mio attacks Aris, Aqua, and her group, and Makoto asks Tomoe for help. But she refuses because she is angry at Makoto for taking Mio with him. She then tells him the method to bring Mio to her senses. Makoto then relaxes her and asks her to fight with Aris and Aqua, and Tomoe transports all of them to the illusory city. Makoto then introduces himself to Aris and Aqua and tells them about himself. They all visit Ogre Village, and Aris tells them about her village. They meet their elder, who tells them about his species, introduces his son, Adano, and tells them that they like to live in hiding. Aris and Aqua ask Makoto to meet their master Mondo, who holds hands with Makoto, but Maya throws him outside. Mondo says they will regret meeting him, and Makoto asks Mio to investigate Mondo and Adano. Maya then informs Makoto that Mondo and Adano are connected to some demons. Mondo then kills Adano, and a demon appears there and attacks Makoto, but his spell does not affect him. Makoto then counterattacks and defeats him, and he vanishes. Tomoe comes, and after knowing that she is Shin, the Elder orders all the people to bow before her. Makoto asks the monster why he did this, and he tells him that he did this to become a high-ranking human. He then asks Makoto what spell he used to defeat him, and Makoto replies that it was old dark magic. Makoto asks him about his magic spells. Tomoe then says that he wants to become a Grant because he is aware of other worlds and that Grants can travel between different worlds. She then gives detailed information about Grants and asks Mondo to become Makoto's servant, and he agrees. Eris and Aqua are hungry, but Aqua says she will never eat human charity. The monster then turns into a young man after contracting with Makoto, and he thanks him. Makoto gives him the name Lich, and Tomo says they have a lot to teach him, and while talking, she faints, an explosion occurs, and Tomo's head starts bleeding. She falls while saying that she made a mistake. Makoto asks Mio to stop Tomo's bleeding and goes to the site of the explosion with Lich. While running, Lich stops saying that he cannot run. He says he prefers healing someone rather than wasting his mana on running. Makoto then sends him to heal the injured people, and he himself uses his healing powers. Emma then comes crying and tells him that orcs are with Fragment, trying to stop humans. Makoto notices a mist gate and some adventurers behind it. He checks the mist gate, and then he views the memories of a woman whom he met often. He then yells in agony and hears the sound of glass breaking around him. Makoto then encounters the same woman who is holding some weapons. The woman recognizes him because he is without a mask. She asks him if he is a demi human, and he says he doesn't care about it. She is surprised by Makoto's language. Makoto then rushes toward her, saying that it is her good luck that she has survived. He says he wishes he had killed her before. The woman draws her sword, saying that she is a level 96 adventurer and cannot be beaten by a merchant. She then attacks Makoto, but it does not affect him. Both of her hands are cut in this struggle. Makoto then tells her that she has killed many humans, including Tomo's Fragment and other orcs. He then stabs and kills her, thinking that this is the first time he has deliberately killed someone. Makoto throws his sword, kneels down, and starts yelling hysterically. The next day, he pretends to be fine and performs memorial services for the deceased. He then asks Tomoe about the adventurer's memories he viewed at the time of the explosion, and she tells him that it was a coincidence. Mio and Tomoe then start arguing, and Makoto stops them. Makoto decides to build a wall to encircle the illusory city, so everyone knows about it. He then asks lizardmen to patrol the area and instructs the representatives of all the species. They are all thankful to Makoto for saving them. Patrick tells Makoto about the neutral city named the town of Rotsgard Academy. He says he will write a recommendation letter, and Makoto thanks him. Makoto then reveals to him that he lied to him about something. He then removes his mask and reveals his identity, but Patrick says he does not care because the love of his wife and daughters is important to him. Makoto then tells his fellows that he wants to know about humans and then leaves them, and all the species gather to say goodbye. Later, he's attacked by two girls who cut his fingers. The adventurer named Sophia attacks Makoto and injures him despite his magical barrier. He then asks her why she's attacking him, and she says he is their enemy. He then realizes that a war between demons and humans is about to start. Sophia asks him to remove the goddess's disciple because he is preventing the demons from advancing. She then attacks him, but he manages to dodge her. Then they introduce themselves and say that Sophia is called the Dragon Slayer. She attacks Makoto, but he releases his mana, which causes an explosion. Sophia is shocked to see Makoto's abilities and realizes that Makoto is getting stronger. He then absorbs Sophia's magical power, and when Sophia's companion again attacks him, he dodges her and cuts her body. Sophia then takes Makoto up and throws him down. Sophia then asks her companion to signal the demon army. Makoto then attacks them, saying that this is to throw him down. A huge explosion occurs as a result of Makoto's attack, causing a lot of destruction and chaos. After the explosion, Makoto is seen floating naked on the surface of the water. Sophia says if Makoto is still alive, she will kill him. When Makoto opens his eyes, he finds himself on the bed between Mio and Tomoe. He gets up and says good morning to both of them. Patrick is reading the newspaper and tells his assistant that those who survived miraculously are saying that the explosion was caused by the goddess's third disciple, who was a mage dressed in red. Lish says the goddess tried to force Makoto to fight the demons, which is why she used the magic circle to send him to the battlefield. Mio gets furious to hear this and says that the goddess will have to pay for it. Makoto reveals that he is going to the academy with Shiki, and he cannot take Mio and Tomoe with him because he wants to keep them hidden from the goddess. He promises both of them that he will call them when the time comes. Tomoe then calls Fragment, and Makoto is surprised to see her. Tomoe tells him that she is her new Fragment and the result of their mana, so they can call her their child. All the species are getting training to boost their powers. The illusory city has been built, and Makoto's store inside has also opened. Mio checks the work of a villager and appreciates him. She then presents the items in a special way, and the people start buying them. Tu says to Line that she wants to put on a performance to sell the products, and he says that her boss will reject her idea. Makoto and Lish also praise the efforts of employers who are selling the products. Makoto thinks that both humans and demons suffered numerous casualties on the battlefield where he was deposited, and he threw all the mana to annoy Sophia and Mitsujin. But he did not know that the immense power of mana activates when one's life is in danger. He thinks he will learn about his parents someday. Emma comes to tell him that everyone is ready for the opening ceremony of the store and his farewell party.